Hey guys, hey creative bitches. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Hey guys, welcome to
Creative Happy Hour
where we get drunk
on the creative possibilities.
each and every week with you guys, our creative, whatever you are. What are you?
You know what you are.
Well, you know what you are.
You know what you are.
You're so
Yeah.
creative. You know exactly what you are. You know what we mean. You understand us.
You do.
You're a little tribe. You're a tribe. Don't you hate that word?
Oh my God, so much.
Our tribe.
So much. It's
Right?
going to drive me to drink.
And yes, it's going to tribe me to drink. Speaking of tribe, we're going to be talking about events, like having events to gather your tribe for a creative event.
Yes,
right?
that's what we're going to talk about.
That is what we're talking about today. So join us as we talk about creative events, how not to fuck them up, how to make them the best they can be.
That's right.
What to do, what not to do. And we have a special guest star today.
Yeah.
Her name is Gabrielle Chavigny. She is a event planner extraordinaire. And guys, she has seen it all. So she's going to be joining us later to tell us all about
All those stories.
the stories, the trials, the tribulations, the shit that went well, the shit that went wrong. That's what's going to happen. We are tasting today a Vinho Verde Punch. So let's do cheers and we're going to taste it.
Cheers.
Woo, cheers. Okay, let's check it out. Oh, that is really nice, isn't it?
So refreshing.
Right?
Yeah.
Why? That's so cool. So Vinho Verde. So we don't have a name for it. We don't have a cool
Green
name.
wine, right?
It's green wine. It's young. So this is all about youth.
It's
so
youthful.
I
Like
think,
us.
Like us. I think that events are a way to inject that youthful energy into your brand or your creative production.
Totally.
Right? Am I right or am I right?
Oh my God, she's so right.
Right.
Ah.
And if I'm not, you can comment down below.
Yeah, go ahead.
By the way, don't
Just
forget
go
to
ahead.
frickin' subscribe.
I know I'm going to comment.
Right? You're going to comment right back quickly.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So, follow us, subscribe.
Yes,
Do all that
Insta.
shit. Follow us on Instagram because we have so much
we have
cool
so
shit
many
on Instagram.
funny little videos
We're so
and
cute.
nonsensical.
That makes so much sense to us.
It makes
Logical.
a lot of sense,
Lots
but
of logic
you
for
know
us.
what I mean.
Right? So, okay. Vinho Verde from Portugal. Green wine. Youthful.
Youthful.
Right? So,
we threw in some rosemary.
We threw in some rosemary.
Some
So-
tangerine.
Yep. Navel orange.
Navel orange.
Navel
sorry.
orange. That's another little thematic thing. Don't be navel gazing or navel gazing when it comes to how you should promote your brand. You should be looking at other people.
Oh.
Look out, not in people, right? With
That's
the events.
right.
Yeah.
That's
so
right.
the navel oranges cut up. The rosemary, we actually made a little rosemary simple syrup.
Yes, we
So
did.
we boiled it down with sugar. Lying. No. So we boiled down the
Did we
rosemary.
do that?
Right? We maybe we should have. So we boiled down the rosemary with some sugar or some honey and cool that shit down and add it, and then mint leaves for the
Mint
freshness.
leaves and some Persian cucumber.
Persian cucumber.
Can't get enough of the Persian
Can't
cucumber.
get enough of that Persian cucumber. You know what we mean or you don't. That's
Yeah,
fine. Could be
I've
a private
had
joke.
way too much
You know?
Persian cucumber in
Well,
my life.
we all have. So
Cheers
Okay,
to that.
So why did we make a punch? Should we say why we made a punch? You're like, why?
Because,
You're like-
because a punch is like, it's like a bam. It's like a wake up call to your creative life.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's actually
That's
yeah.
why.
That's not
That's
what
why.
I was thinking, but that's great. No, you're so right. A
Just made that up.
It is no, you're so right. Like, okay, an event does wake up your brand. It is a punch to the status quo. That's great. The other reason we made a punch is because it's something you can make ahead, serve to a crowd, and so it kind of goes with our whole event thing. So
Yes.
that's
Events always have some kind of punch.
they pack a punch.
They pack a punch.
They pack a punch, and it's great to have something that's easy to serve, that's festive, that defines your event. So
Yes.
you can make a thematic punch. In this case, we thought this is easy. Another reason we made a Vinho Verde punch in particular is because it's not too high in alcohol, so you're not going to have people going crazy, running amok.
Yeah, you want people to behave themselves at the
little
event. You want them
civilized.
to have a little bit of fun and get
Festive,
relaxed and
yeah.
festive.
But
You
civilized.
don't want them wasted.
You don't want them wasted, and you don't want anything that's going to be dark in color. Nothing with pomegranate, bad idea. 'Cause
Why? Because if they
staining shit in your space, you can't have that.
Yeah, you don't need people
You don't
puking
need-
up pomegranate juice on your white couch.
Yeah, on your
What
white
the hell?
festive event space, you
Yeah,
don't want
forget
that.
it.
Like,
No.
forget that.
You want white wine.
White wine or green wine
Or
is
vodka.
Or vodka. Yeah.
Well, I
absolutely.
guess it doesn't matter because if they had
Mm-hmm.
if they had pizza for lunch,
It's
It's
okay,
still-
I'm not talking about the puke. I'm just talking about like spilling it. Okay, so don't go straight to puking. Okay, that's a little bit direct. Okay, always the puking with you.
I know it's always like puking or sex.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
Or both
It's
at
like
the same time. The regret puke. The sex regret puke. Yeah, she's terrible. She's terrible. I
know.
don't know what to do.
I know.
Anyway, right
And I
back.
wasn't even like a biology major or anything like that.
You so could have been.
I know.
You could have been. That's like your forte. It is. So how does this taste? It tastes fresh. It tastes kind of effervescent, right? It tastes, it's flavorful.
It's minty.
It's minty. It's rosemary-ish.
It has a little orange,
it does.
citrusy thing
It's
going
good.
on.
It has no Pampers baby diaper.
No,
off-gassing
God,
like
no.
that
No,
other
that
thing
weird
we had
ginger
when we
nasty
were not
thing.
drinking. That was really weird.
Oh.
We're back.
We weren't thinking.
Clearly not because we weren't drinking.
What the hell?
So we weren't thinking.
Right.
Okay, so what kind of creative events are we talking about? So what type of, why a creative event?
Yeah.
What for a creative event? So we've all heard of them, like gallery openings.
Gallery
typical,
openings.
right?
Yeah.
Typical. Book signing.
Book signings.
Typical kind of event.
Yes.
Product launch.
Mm-hmm.
End of year thank you. Team building. Like these are all creative events. And you guys might be thinking, why do I need to worry about this as a creative? But in this economy, guys, you need to be your own event planner. And even if you're not your own event planner, you need to know what's up because you need to steer that event planner so they don't do anything stupid. I mean,
Yeah, because people are doing everything online. The
People are doing things online,
the
yeah.
only thing that they're doing in regard to a brand is
Events.
events. You go to events.
Yeah. That's the way you keep your brand from being too virtual all the time.
Right.
That's how you get it into the real world, get people excited.
Exactly.
Get people bonding. You know how people try to promote things, and if you're promoting something always in the virtual world, it starts to feel very salesy.
Well,
starts
it
to feel
becomes
too
so
pushy.
abstract.
It becomes abstract.
It becomes abstract,
Yeah.
and then you experience something else, and you're like, oh, that other thing isn't even real. You've
Exactly.
never really experienced
Yeah, you
it.
want to bring something to real world and be storytelling, using kind of more bonding.
Yeah, you want
and-
to do, you want to go to what's the big yoga event that people go to?
Well,
And
there are a ton of yoga. Well, even think of
Where
Goop.
there's-
Remember when we talked about Goop and she has that
Yeah.
in Goop Health?
Yeah.
I think that's when she took Goop kind of stratospheric because when she started that freaking event
Yeah.
where people are bonding, they're storytelling together, they're finding new creative connections, and that's what strengthens your creative production or your creative brand.
Right, and it also builds a community within your brand. So you
Absolutely.
find like-minded people. You find
Totally.
people that are using your brand.
Exactly. And so we're going to tell you guys kind of how the ins and outs of creating one of these events, because there are a lot of things to think about. It's not just calling your buddies and getting some beer and throwing a party. Ooh, throw a party.
That's what I would do.
That's not what you should do. So I'm going to tell you, Miss Micah, what you should do. Okay?
So that I get a lot of people
Okay.
show up. Like, hey, it's a creative happy hour.
That is not what we're doing.
Okay.
So what is an event? Event needs there's a purpose to an
Yes.
event. That's the first thing you think about.
Yeah, you have to have a premise. You have to have a purpose.
What is my purpose?
What are you doing here?
Exactly.
You're
So-
not just like, hey, let's get together and hang out.
Right. Events cost money. So
Yeah.
you're not just going to like throw
Right.
money at something and have people. What is your purpose? So is your purpose to raise awareness for your brand? Is your purpose to celebrate an achievement?
Is
that
your
you've had?
purpose to raise money for an organization?
Is your purpose to make money? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
that can be a purpose. That's fine. That's what an art show is about. Or is it to, raising awareness, getting new people interested in what you're doing?
And you can do multiple things in
You
an
sure
event.
can.
You can make
Absolutely.
money, raise money
Absolutely.
for organizations,
But you need to
and
know
promote
that.
your brand. So
Yes.
you have to be clear about what you're doing.
Clear. That's the
And-
magic word.
yeah.
Clear like this drink. You need to be clear ahead of time. So no matter what that purpose is, you need to have a road map.
Yeah.
So like I would literally recommend writing that down. Like what's our purpose? It can be multi-purposes, like you said. Like
Yeah.
we need to raise awareness. We need to bring together these specific people.
Right.
And we need to sell some art or launch our product and
Yeah,
get funding.
one of the local designer that I worked with, Jamie Tarr.
Mm-hmm.
She's she mainly focuses on coats, but her design is amazing. But anyway, I worked with her, and she does events through. A lot of them are through the local, schools where they'll have like mom events.
That's a really good
And
point.
they'll
Yeah.
raise money for the school. So
Okay.
she'll donate a little bit of the profit to the school for having the event, the gala or whatever it is.
Totally.
And she will sell her coats at the event, and I mean it's a win-win.
It's a win. So that's exactly
win-win.
right. So you just said something really
Yeah.
important. So often an event.
She's shocked.
I know. I'm like, wow,
You're
she's
like-
really on it today. What the
know.
hell is going on? No, so an event, absolutely. You have that purpose, but you
Right.
also have to have a budget because events
Right.
cost money. And then you have to have like, who's my crowd? So you just mentioned several things. So selling coats, she's raising awareness, but she's making money for the school, and she's bringing together the moms. That is the crew that she's bringing.
She's bringing something to the party
Absolutely.
that moms are into, or ladies are into,
that's
or
really major.
Certain group of people are into. They're into designer clothing.
They're into shopping. They're into hanging out with their friends. Yeah. So you're bringing all of that together, but they need to know what they're there for.
Right.
So let's talk about the invitation. Let's talk about the budget actually first, because I think I always like to talk money. It's, we always talk about getting, it's making creative stuff.
Right.
You're not making it for your health. I mean, you are a little bit, but you would like to make some money, and you would like to not spend too much money.
Right.
So let's define your budget, because that really defines the kind of event that you can put on. I mean, let's fantasize about everything we would love, but if your budget is here, you're not going to have champagne and have Cirque du Soleil hosting your event. It's not happening.
Yeah, you're going to have probably like Prosecco from Trader Joe's and
Vino Verde from Trader Joe's.
Vino Verde from
let's do a shout out to Trader Joe's, because it was $4.99. Don't shortchange our Vino Verde. It was $4.89, I believe, but it's tasty. I mean, in a punch, that's all you need.
What else do you need?
Nothing. So what's your budget? Because do the general math. Like if you want to sell some books, and you know that you're not going to sell more than 50 books at your event, and you're only going to have X, do that math of what do I think that the benefit is? How much would I have paid in advertising somewhere else? What do I need to do? How much is my space going to cost me? How much is the entertainment? Do I have any vendors? Do I need a photographer? Do I, all of that stuff adds up. Do I need valet parking? So this is where
I need a bartender? Do I need musicians? Do I need
important. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, do I need
all of that? So that starts to define where you're having your event, and it starts to define what kind of things you can have at the event. And sometimes more is not better. We just mentioned the music and the bartender and all that stuff.
Well, I just had a patient today tell me about, he is a local business owner in Marin County, and he just celebrated 28 years of Rosemary. He just celebrated 28 years of having a business in Marin County.
Lovely.
And so he had a party to celebrate it.
Yeah.
So he had a band, a DJ, a bartender, a tarot card reader, or psychic.
That's where things start to get too much. I think that can distract a little bit.
A photographer.
That's a lot.
I mean, on and on and on.
Mm-hmm. I mean, what did he say about it? What was his feeling about it?
He was super stoked about it. I mean, I think he enjoyed it. I don't know if he got all the bills yet.
Right. Because that's the thing. If it's a celebration, that's a different kind of event where, sure.
But I think he was honoring all the people that have supported him in the business world because he's in the rug business. So, I think it's a more challenging business. I think
it is challenging. They're always pretending they're going out of business.
Yeah, and he's very successful in
He's
this.
Not going out of business.
No, obviously.
No.
Anyway, I think he was essentially celebrating the fact that he's
a celebration. But
he was honoring his clientele. I mean, he said he had over 200 people there, which is pretty big.
So that's the other thing. Let's talk guest list. Now that we've kind of started to put the budget out there a little bit, let's talk guest list, because that celebration, yes, you're inviting all of your clientele. You're inviting all of the people that you want to thank for supporting you. However, let's pretend that we're doing a book launch or a gallery opening.
Right.
We don't want to invite our drunk friend who's going to be there all over your canvases. You want to invite the right people, because if you have too many people, at a certain point, the brouhaha, everything becomes too much, and people have a very short attention span.
Right.
So if you're slammed, you can't get your message through
to the right people. So sometimes I think that having a smaller guest list, and one of our friends who's actually Linda, who was on our show a couple weeks ago, she had an art opening, and it was a very targeted guest list, and her opening wasn't slammed. So I've had an opening before where it was slammed. It was kind of more like a party. We were lucky that we sold some art. We could have just as well not have sold very much art, because we were... Well, people get distracted and they forget why they're there.
Why are we there? Yeah, why are we there? Linda had people she had very targeted people who were coming to really look at the art.
Yeah, I mean, if you get especially when you're looking at art, if you get overstimulated, you can't focus on the art, and then you get distracted by somebody else's art, or you get distracted by something.
Yeah, and a book signing, for example, if people start partying so much. Like I've been to a book signing where the author's there and there's so many people and they're drinking and the space was not appropriate. The space was kind of convoluted and people are kind of going around like in all these nooks and crannies and the author's trying to say something about their book, but they're not getting through. And then they're signing, but people are kind of putting, their drinks on the book while they're signing. And it was chaos. And I really think that they didn't serve that event right. It's kind of difficult. And then our guest, Gabrielle, who's the event planner, is going to be telling us about some of these events that really went a little bit wrong because there wasn't that planning.
Well, yeah, if you don't plan it properly and there's no ultimate management of the situation,
right, and
then
so,
it can go amok.
Exactly. And the guest list, I think that it's really good to have a limited guest list, not one, come all.
Right.
And I think because also when you have a guest list, there's an exclusivity.
There's an exclusivity,
and
there's also an expectation of your behavior. You're in a certain standard of were invited.
Yep.
You
that
were invited.
Wasn't.
Yeah.
You need to show up. And also RSVP. Like asking for RSVPs is major.
It sets a standard for behavior.
It does, but people are so rude and they actually need to be told. Like you need to be like RSVP by this date.
Or you're not coming.
And also I kind of feel that if you have multiple events and people don't RSVP for a couple times, you're off the list. Like that's something where get them off, teach them how they should behave. Don't sit there and wait until something better comes along.
Or as Dr. Phil says, teach people how to treat you.
Hey, you know what?
I love Dr. Phil.
Come on now.
Thank you.
Teach people how to treat you.
That's what he says.
That is very true, and that applies to events very much.
He probably got that from Oprah. I mean, let's be honest.
He got that from us. No, I'm just kidding. He probably
from
did.
Oprah.
He got it from Oprah.
Yeah.
Oprah is the thought leader for all of us. I mean, come on now. So I was at an event with at the Soho House. They were planning this thing, and this young girl, she plans the events, and she actually did a very good job making people RSVP. The people showed up. They were kind of almost on time. When they didn't show up on time, you sit on the floor.
Ooh.
And it was really kind of well, thought out. And then there was this follow-up, and it was great. It's like your expectations were there. Nobody's drinking or eating during this thing. It was, which usually
I would have failed.
Yeah,
usually
I'd be like,
what's going on?
Usually I'd be like, no way. But I thought this was really great. And it just gave you a quality of, interaction. Like there was interaction expected. It was great. It was the right size. It was just well done. I thought that was great. But I was going to say with the numbers, the Dalai Lama. So the Dalai Lama and Donald Trump have the same life path number. Number 4. They're both 4s. And I was like, holy shit. So is my husband. Scary. Yeah. So there you go.
Well, it's interesting because 4s are kind of a stable,
right? Yeah, it's weird. Well, it's potential.
It's stable in its energy field, right? It's
that's
not like
what it is.
Whatever.
And so one of them's the high end.
I'm not saying it's stable because
that's
it's
kind
not.
of a preview on our numerology. But so speaking of stable, that's what you want in your guest list.
Yes.
You want a stable number of people, and you want to pull people from various. So speaking of 4, you want those pillars. So you want people who are going to be in the press. You want people who are established in the community. You want people who are kind of new movers and shakers and kind of the influencers. And you want the people who are kind of your creatives.
It's kind of like, it makes me think of, remember we used to go to all those Marin Magazine events?
All the time,
And they kind of did that.
They would they'd have that good balance.
They would bring in like new business owners. They'd bring in the established.
And the creatives.
And the creatives. It'd be like food and wine. Yeah.
Totally. That's what you do. So you balance that out really well. And by looking at your guest list, you can strategize how that's going to happen, and you can encourage people to communicate. So I think it's nice to have things where you can kind of, the name tags. It sounds cheesy, but I think that encouraging people to introduce each other, like there's an expectation that you're not just going to hang out with your friends in the corner. You're going to be interacting with people. And I think that that's a really nice thing as well in the events. Like
I mean, extroverts love that shit.
Extroverts love that shit, but I think introverts
need
like
that shit.
Yeah, because when an introvert, for me, I mean, you never believe me, I am an introvert. I know.
Can we take a poll, people? Can you all, everybody tell me yes or no? Is she an introvert or an extrovert? Come on.
I'm an introvert who keeps trying, okay? Seriously. I really appreciate when I'm at an event where I know that the expectation is to either to be the hostess or to be networking, because if I'm told that this is what I'm expected to do, I am able to do it for a time. Okay, that's the expectation. It takes a lot out of me. I force myself to do it. I swear to God, am I ADHD or not? Can we agree on that?
Yeah, you definitely are that.
I am an introvert, I'm telling you. I'm a total...
We're going to do an episode on introverts and extroverts and how it affects our creativity.
We will do that.
And our expression of creativity.
Yeah, and then we'll have a fight.
And then we're going to get into a fight.
I'm going to get into a fight!
So I'm just trying to think of the drink that we're going to have.
Ew, a punch. Some kind of a punch. Some kind of a punch.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about, so we've talked about kind of the 4 pillars of our guest list. So the style of event informs the guest list. So for a book signing, for example, you don't want a million other writers who are your peers.
No, you don't want other people competing with you.
Right. You can have just enough.
You don't want like a book signing event where it's like
a ton of writers,
5 different authors.
It should be me.
And then everybody's lined up at the one author. Like,
exactly. You don't want that. And like for an art opening, you don't want to invite a bunch of other artists. They're not buying your work. So you want the people who are going to promote your work, the people who already have collected your work. So you're thanking them.
It's the same with like a music event. Like you maybe have an opening band, but you're not going to have like 5 opening bands.
No.
And then the main band. Because everybody's going to be exhausted by the time they get to the main course.
That's another thing. Right. Well, the exhaustion is something. You don't want that distraction.
You want something like an appetizer that kind of goes with the genre.
Right. Yes.
And then...
And we'll see.
Ba-bam.
Right. Well, same thing goes for if you're having an art opening. You probably don't want distracting music because that's just too much.
Too much stimulation.
Too much stimulation.
Too much stimulation.
So what's the style of your event?
So yeah, don't do a line of Coke. Don't do a bunch of like.
Yeah. Do you want to be? And so this.
I'm
perfect.
joking.
No, she's not joking. Oh my god. Okay, but if you're the person who's throwing the event, that's a great thing. You need to be on. You're not going. This is not a party for you to have fun. You can have a little bit of fun, but this is a party for you. You're promoting yourself. You're investing in this event. You need to know what you want out of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this goes to, so it's funny, I was just talking again to an artist friend. She's having an art show this week, and she's asking me, what am I going to wear? And you might think like, oh, this is so stupid to think about what I'm going to wear. But it's not stupid.
It's not stupid. I agree with you.
It's not stupid at all.
It's not stupid.
Right? So she's going to be dressed all in black. Why? She doesn't want to distract from her art.
Right.
She wants to photograph well because, hello, this is a thing. The photography is part of your advertising, part of your outreach. You don't want people to remember your outfit.
Yeah.
You want them to remember the event and the message, right? So what would you wear if you had an event for
I would wear like, I would dress like...
a homeless... fiber artist.
Elizabeth Holmes and Steve Jobs. I'd wear a black turtleneck.
Black turtleneck, you would not. You would wear a cape. You
would not catch me dead in a black turtleneck.
You would wear an amazing Technicolor dream coat. Is what you would be wearing.
I would wear like a black dress
with a shawl of many colors above it.
Oh my god! So GQ this month, it was of course Tom Holland and like all these and. Yeah, I'm not even going to say what my daughter said about it.
We're not going to go there.
But there was a guy in there that is a model. He's probably like he probably does 12, something else.
Whatever. Okay.
He had a whole crocheted outfit on, and I wanted to bring it. And I was like, see, I could do that and so much better. It was a full on like crocheted shirt and pants, and it looked so badass. It was like
but that's what you would wear to one of your events if you wore something crocheted and badass. That's totally on brand and that's totally right.
Yeah, I would probably wear some crazy ass like crocheted dress.
Right. And if I was doing something for my writing, I would probably wear something red because that's one of my colors.
That's one of your power colors.
Well, it's one of my power colors, but it's one of my brand colors.
You would wear like a hat with a typewriter on it or something.
Yeah, well, I'd wear just a typewriter on my head. And I'd be like, I've got a headache. I don't know why. And I'd be really bitchy, but that's kind of my brand. That's on brand. No, but I would wear probably red. Yeah, Malibu bitch is back. I was just in Malibu, so there you go. But yeah, I would wear red or maybe red lipstick and maybe like an aqua. I would wear my brand colors. Yeah. But something simple but powerful to kind of exude that authority and to have people kind of feel like it's approachable.
Well, they would know that you were the person that was associated with what you were doing. Yeah.
You want people to know who to go to. Like if you're having a party, everybody's like, oh, who threw this party? I have no idea. Yeah. Like that's your job as the person who's throwing this event. Yeah. Your job is not to hang out with your friends in the corner. Your job is to circulate and to speak to every single person.
You're the bride.
You're the bride. That's exactly right. And it's funny because I was talking to Gabrielle, who's going to be on in a minute, and we were talking about weddings versus creative events because she's done a lot of wedding planning. And that's exactly right. Like if you have too many people at your wedding, everybody ends up pissed off because they don't feel like they got quality time with you. And that's kind of your job, even though like, you think you're supposed to have fun. No, you're not. Like, pretend you're having fun. You know, don't get trashed until the very end. Like, circulate and speak to people. Have meaningful exchanges so that they remember, oh yeah, you know, that was great.
Well, yeah, and it might help the success of your marriage, perhaps.
It can help. All of these things can help. Like, learning how to do these things and communicate the right way and to have that purpose.
Well, it kind of builds your community. It helps build
your community.
It builds your community because that's really what a wedding is. It's a public demonstration
of an intention.
and an invitation.
It's a project. It's a product.
It's an invitation to say, hey, support our life together.
Right.
I'm bringing you all here to support our life together.
Right. And that's what an event is. I'm bringing you here to support what I've created.
Yes.
I'm bringing you here to support this project.
Yes.
And that's exactly the same thing. So view that. Yeah, you don't get, like, everybody gets, like, they get these monster brides, you know, these nightmare, what they call them? Bridezillas.
Yeah.
Because they're like, this is my one shot to be, you know, the bride, the center of attention, whatever. When you're doing a creative event, you can be the bride. Again, whether you're a man or a woman.
Yeah, if you're into being the bride, you might want to be like,
but don't be a bridezilla. Like,
no.
Create, you know, make sure everybody's happy. Make sure everybody has a good time. The better time people have at your event, that reflects positively on your brand, your production, your art, your book, whatever it is. Like, it all kind of builds in.
Yeah, I mean, have you ever been to an event where you're like, oh, I'm so excited to see this person or see this?
And then they're a nightmare and you're like, what the hell happened?
Or you have to, it's not just
it's not just you throwing the party and doing them a favor because you're entertaining them.
It's a give and take. It's a relationship type of interaction.
Supporting you. And they need to know
and they need to know that you recognize it.
Yes.
And that you appreciate it.
Completely.
And it can't just be like, oh, in a speech. It has to be eye contact, smiling,
the way you interact with every single person.
Get sparkle in your eye. You have to be able to, you know, you have to be able to let people know that you appreciate them.
So important.
And they have to get it on a personal level. Now, if there's 200 people at your party,
that's why maybe 200 people is not a good number for one of these events.
So you might want to think about the magnitude. I mean, there is a thing in psychology. So, and everybody that's taken Psych 101 has heard this story.
Right.
Where if you have a heart attack on the street, if there are hundreds of people on the street, nobody's going to stop. But if there are 2 people on the street, the responsibility gets concentrated among 2 people.
Very much so.
So you need to think about it psychologically.
Yes.
The less people you have.
Focus groups work better than a big old auditorium thing.
The people that are maybe more influential in your field, in your particular field, the people, you know, you want to have a higher concentration of an effect of the feeling of responsibility towards your brand than necessarily it being distributed among a bunch of people that don't really give a shit or
that's why
are not really going to get it.
No, that's why maybe an intimate dinner party is going to work better for your purposes than a big old shindig where everybody can kind of sneak out whenever and everything else. Like a dinner party, you have their attention. And the other thing I was thinking about is the frequency of your events. So some people are going to throw salons.
Did you say frequency? The fiber frequency of your event.
Fiber frequency of your event. Yeah, but the frequency is important.
Right.
Because if you have events, but if you have events all the time, it doesn't feel special. And you know what people tell themselves? Talk about psychology.
Oh, they're going to have another one.
I'll catch the next one.
Yeah.
I'll catch the next one. They're going to have another one.
Yeah.
It's not special.
They have them all the time.
However, if you're like, this is a once-in-a-lifetime celebration. You could be a total freaking liar, but you do it more seldom, make it feel more special.
Yeah.
And, even the White House, I hate to mention, the White House, that, capital of evil right now.
The Orange House.
But the Orange House, they have multiple small Christmas parties.
Oh.
Instead of having one massive Christmas party. So people feel special. And that guest list is targeted. So you can do that. Like, what about for your brand? You have multiple small dinners for exactly the right people. You really think hard about who am I seating next to whom? What am I serving? And that's another thing. What are we serving? Is this, don't go over the top. Don't make people feel like, oh my God, they served me caviar and now that's not branded to them.
And they don't even pay me enough to.
Right. Well, yeah. Well, that's another thing. If you're doing an employee appreciation and you're going way over the top and you've spent a fortune for that, and then they're like, you could have paid me a bonus. I would have been happier with that. That's something to, consider how people
don't
are
be
viewing
stupid,
you.
people.
Don't be stupid.
Don't insult the people around you.
Don't insult the people around you.
I
And that
mean,
goes on
come
so
on.
many levels.
Assuming,
exactly. Exactly.
Don't get me started.
So, right? So then, okay, so we talked about that budget. We talked about not insulting people. So who are your vendors that you need? So you definitely, like, I would think that if you only have a little bit of money to spend, you don't have to serve a million different types of alcohol.
There are so many decent drinks that you can make that are delicious
and
that
inexpensive.
are good and inexpensive.
This costs probably $3 a
the
glass
whole thing
max.
was $8 for the bowl.
Yeah, for the bowl, for the punch bowl, exactly.
And it probably makes
enough for 10 people.
Yeah,
who don't drink too. Who don't.
So
drink
if you have 50 people, you have 50 times 8.
It's not bad.
It's not really that bad.
Well, no, not even 50. 50 times 3.
I mean 50 times 3. Sorry.
Not terrible.
We don't do math on here.
No, we don't. And then
we're not mathematicians,
we're not
people.
Mathematicians. We're charming. We're not. Yeah, that's not us.
Don't get me wrong. I like mathematicians.
Oh
though.
yeah, I have to publish her rant about mathematicians. No. I will do that. Applied math. She thinks it's hot. She will. I like all of you. All of you. Trigonometry gets her hot. I'm telling you. But other than that, I'm sorry.
No, I had a really hot trigonometry teacher.
That's why.
Like really, Mr. Somas. If you're out there,
I'm Mr. Somas.
Yeah, he was this hot Greek trigonometry teacher.
We're gonna track him down.
Yeah,
Somas.
Mr. Somas.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, wow.
Oh yeah.
He was.
Okay.
Anyway,
I'm gonna look this up.
I took more math classes with him than I could even talk about.
I'm so good at research. I'm gonna find him.
Blushing.
It's hot in here.
I know.
It's hot in here. Okay, so in terms of food, not necessary to have the caviar and the filet mignon. Like you can have. I mean, sometimes
simple bites.
Sometimes a wine and cheese is just as good as anything else. Because again, the message is not I'm feeding the shit out of you. It's hey, you're here for this reason.
For this reason, you're not here for dinner.
You're not here for dinner.
You should have gone to dinner.
Or you have that dinner, but you have it for less people so that you don't like if you're feeling bitter about what you've done for these people and what you've fed them, like you're not doing it right. Again, you're not doing it right. Okay, so here's another important thing. When you're throwing this party, let's define the timeline for the event. Yeah. And let's define the responsibility. So this is where a party planner comes in. Many of us cannot afford a party planner, we think, but sometimes a party planner will save you money.
A lot of money, a lot of money.
Because they know in terms of the vendors, in terms of the, where do I find the photographer? Where do I find the space? Where do, is there valet parking? I mean, these are considerations that you need to think of. And again, sometimes the space bigger is not better. Center of town sometimes is more complicated. You've got all these considerations, and a good event planner will know. And also they know about the music and the volume of the music, and do you need a band or not? And all of this, do you need entertainment? Half the time for an event, stop thinking about making it so fun all the time. You're taking away from
what you're trying to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's really important. Okay, so then when we're thinking about the press, how to announce this, I mentioned earlier in the show, like don't keep promoting things. Try to really create a conversation around things instead. Make it fun, make it storytelling, make it, something special instead of being like push.
Yeah, make the people feel like they're part of something.
Make them tell the story, but want to tell the story. Like you're not forcing them to tell the story.
Yeah, remember our whole episode on being like in a cult?
Yeah, that one. So yeah, just indoctrinate them. They
well, yeah, that was the Goop episode.
Totally, it was.
And it was all about this kind of stuff.
That bitch knows what she's doing sometimes.
I mean, honestly,
cheers to you, Gwyneth.
Cheers, Gwyneth.
Cheers, Gwyneth. I mean, love to hate you, but have to love you sometimes. I mean, come on.
I mean, you really are.
You know what you're doing.
You really are.
Right?
I mean, or she's surrounded by lots of people that know what they're doing.
Yes, she is, and sometimes that's the thing to do. Again,
to pay them
but party planner sometimes a good thing. Event planner.
Yeah.
And so so now we are. Wait a second. Oh, we're doing well. Perfect. So the last thing that we want to bring up before we bring in our guest star is that when your event's over, it's not over.
Ooh.
Your event's not over.
No, people, you need to keep
on trucking, get that momentum.
Keep the party going.
Keep the party going with the follow-up. What
all
comes after?
All
night long. Yeah, totally. Like you want the follow-up.
Yeah.
You want to make people feel special that they were there.
Yeah.
You want them to be sharing the photos.
All those numbers that you got from
all
hot
of that
Greek trigonometry teachers. just
Follow
reach out and touch someone. Do it.
Do it. Touch
Do it. Email them, call them.
All of it.
Follow them on
Because
Instagram.
they had a
Follow
good-
us on Instagram.
Follow us on Instagram, please.
First and foremost.
First and foremost. But yeah, when people went to one of your events, they're feeling good about you. This is when they're warm, they're prepped, they're ready, man. They are lubricated.
Yeah.
That's sounding dirtier than I meant. Usually that's you. What the hell?
I know. She's stealing my lines.
Stealing her shtick.
Stealing my lines, man. You're stealing my lines.
I'm so sorry. So, but what you do, these people are prepped and primed.
They are.
You can sell
the
them.
seduction
This is when you have to
slam dunk.
Yeah, that's when you have to really.
You got to close the sale, people.
Close the sale.
Close the sale.
Close the sale. And whether closing the sale means buying your book, buying your art, signing up for your mailing list,
going home with them.
Going home with you, giving you funding.
Joking.
No, you're not. Giving you funding.
Kind of not
all
joking.
of these are things, or introducing you to people, getting other people for the guest list for next time. I mean, all of these are possible goals.
Yeah.
But these are goals that you should have had from the get-go, and now you're following through.
Yeah.
And then
go get them, girl.
Go get them, girl. But what people want, the thing they want is to be invited to your next event. That's kind of another one of the goals that should always be in your mind, nice and fresh. Yeah. Right? So I think that's kind of it on how to.
That's kind of the cliff notes on event planning for the creative.
For creatives, which we all do need to have that skill. And if it's not your skill, hire someone. So on
get
that
someone.
Note,
if you
get someone.
If you can't do it,
my
grandma would say, can't, never, will, never.
Can't, never, will, never.
So
hire somebody.
Hire someone.
So
that's what smart people do,
right?
They hire people that know how to do the shit that they don't know how to do.
Totally. So without further ado, let's get our guest star on board. Yeah. So we're gonna get her to come magically sit down.
Am I gonna get?
Yeah, get a refill.
Okay, I'll be back.
She'll be back.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.
Welcome to Creative Happy Hour.
Welcome, Gabrielle Chavigny.
Hello.
Yay.
Hello.
Yes, to Creative Happy Hour.
Yay.
And Gabrielle is our celebrity event planner. She's so cool. We love her. Tell us how you started with event planning, and we'll go from there.
So I actually started in PR, which was
a good skill to have.
A good skill to have in events, because with PR we are constantly going after people to like something.
Right.
And that's pretty much
the skill. That's
what an event is.
Right.
Yeah.
You are wanting them to like you, your product, whatever you're selling.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I started in PR. One of my restaurants that I did PR for, the Four Seasons, had an opening for an event planner, and I happened to be kind of going out of the PR world.
It's always good to grow. Creatives grow all the time. Yes.
And into it that way. So it was really right place, right time for me.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So what's the difference for you between events and PR? How did that transition feel like to you?
So events is a lot more on. You are constantly working.
Whether you're working it or whether you're
right.
throwing it or whether you're there, everybody needs to be on.
Right.
For sure.
And you ladies touched, I was over,
We reach out and touch.
We reach out and touch everything.
You touch though on the it's never over. It's
it's never over.
So you have to constantly, exactly.
Yes.
And when the event's over, it's not over. You have to send out your thank you notes and remind
I like
people.
the thank you notes.
Yes. Thank you for
I'm still
picking
very big on writing written thank you notes.
I gave one today, handwritten thank you note.
No,
it's wonderful.
It's an art. It's a lost art.
It's a lost art, and it's a good thing to do for sure.
100%.
Well, I think events are also about making people feel special. And so, that's...
And so when I went from that to that, I think I basically used the skills from that to go into events. And the one thing about events is it's really just about kind of making sure that everybody is happy.
Yes.
And keeping a very organized timeline.
Yeah, that was a big thing about the organization and the timeline is major. It's like a production. It's not...
It is a production.
The people putting the event on are not
Yeah, it seems
partying.
a little theater-like.
Well, it's like a movie.
Like, okay,
you have to edit a lot of it out.
This.
People get bored.
Right? But you actually did film studies as well.
Did you
not?
did.
So that's perfect.
I
So
did.
you're
Actually studied
Yep.
film. I went to NYU film school, so I
You're
did
well
have that.
to know what movies are, yes.
So I had that in my background, which was actually great because it helped me know timelines and edit. You have to edit a lot out. There's a lot
That's
of
such a good thing.
behind the scenes. I mean,
Yeah.
we are not exactly talking about weddings, but that's a whole
It's a
movie
whole
in
thing.
itself.
Totally.
Yeah. Like the drunk mom doing
Yes.
weird shit.
Right.
Lecturing somebody, and you're just like, cut.
Like, no,
Right.
edit that out.
But
You're like,
with
edit.
events,
I love edits.
Yes.
Right, but I think with events, people try to put everything into it. They try to have everything, and you need to edit it down to the core of what you're trying to achieve.
From everything,
From
to the
everything.
food, to the
Yes.
drink, to the guest list. It's all about just making sure that it's exactly fitting.
Fitting,
It's
yeah.
like a puzzle.
Yeah,
So you have
I
to
like
make
that.
sure that the puzzle works. Because if it
Well,
doesn't,
because I mean, people think about a puzzle. You put a puzzle together, you get a picture, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So you have
That's
to
exactly
be
right.
clear about what the picture
and
is
whatever
that you're trying
you're
to create.
selling
Yeah.
or trying to promote needs
That
to
has to be
be
clear.
the complete picture.
Absolutely.
So by the end of the event, you want to have.
I feel like this is going to get stolen by some marketing company or something.
I think the marketing companies might have some little notion of how this works, so it's pretty safe to
have to make
I
sure that there's a
know.
complete puzzle.
Yeah, it's kind of
I
obvious.
like to think that we're geniuses.
We are geniuses, but I think
true.
that marketing companies know this, and that's what they do. We're trying to tell creatives that they need to know what marketing companies and PR companies know.
thinking, yeah.
Because in this world where we are, we kind of need to do it all, and we need to kind of be aware of what's going on
Right.
if we're not doing it ourselves. So, okay, so what are some of the most impressive events that you've ever either attended or participated in or helped to plan?
Ooh.
I always like to ask the weird questions. Yeah.
So she said that I did a lot of weddings. So I've done a lot of celebrity weddings, which is always, a big deal.
And that's kind of commercial and artistic at the same
But
time.
I've also done a lot of film premieres, and that's you're selling something. You want these people
Totally
to
are.
go to this
Totally,
premiere.
it's not just a party.
So I would say probably without dropping names, Sweeney Todd was the biggest premiere
Oh,
party
wow.
I did.
Nice.
And again, timing. It was all about timing. Our main person was not there on time. He in fact showed up 7 hours later.
7 hours late. Yeah, that's a little bit much.
So it was kind of
So
late.
how do you
Well,
okay,
you lose your audience.
right. So when you have a disastrous event like that,
Right.
when you have kind of a disastrous problem with your event, how can you compensate, or is it just kind of all over?
It's kind of all over. I mean, sometimes you can, and it certainly depends on what you're promoting and what you're doing. But in this specific case, the promotion was him
Yeah.
as an actor. He was the draw. So when your
hard.
main character is not there,
Right.
there's a lot of upset people.
Yes.
So you're
Yes.
really trying hard to recover from that, and that's not always.
Was that a little bit disastrous? I mean, did that
Yeah,
get,
for
get
sure.
reflected in the press and
I
everything
think.
else?
Well, I think the film itself is reflected.
I
I don't really know if it had anything to do with the party, but
right. But maybe that was just a continuum.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I really stress the fact of making sure that your key people are there, which
Yes.
brings you back to your timeline,
So much.
and you really need to pay attention to that timeline.
Right. It's not sexy.
So
but it's
what do you?
important.
I
Right.
mean, what do you think they could have done to ensure that Mr. Sweeney Todd would have been there?
I don't think anything. I mean, that goes back to
entitled people,
Entitled.
and
management,
schedules
and yeah, I don't actually think there was anything that could have been done with that.
So you think
specific-
maybe like the original agreement that he made
They don't
was
care.
They don't care.
No, but that goes to vendors though. So let's talk about vendors for a second, because when you're dealing with vendors, absolutely get them to sign something. That says that they have to
Because
come
they were
in.
like, oh, the event didn't happen because the person didn't show up, so I
Right.
don't.
Right.
So
Right. So if you're dealing with, let's say, a book, and you have to have said author come in, make sure that that person is on a timeline. They're coming at the right time.
They know what's expected
They
of
know
them.
what's expected
you
of
need to
them.
sign this many books.
Right.
You need to smile at this many people.
And I've done parties where they came late and they left early, and
Yeah, not
had
okay.
a lot of upset guests.
Right, and that's not okay. And
No.
I think artists need to be aware that they think
they
they're
need to know the
talent, but
consequences of that.
They artists think of themselves as the talent, but actually you're the product. And
Right.
so act
Yeah.
that way. And I think it's important also, if you're organizing a party for an artist, tell them these are the 5 people that you absolutely positively need to speak to and be charming to.
Right.
Like,
And
don't care if
I think also the message is if you can't do it, if you can't meet the
even start.
expectation,
Yeah.
don't sign up for something that you can't commit to. Don't say, oh yeah, I'm going to do this event and I'm going to sign this many books and I'm going to do this stuff.
Right.
But show up late and then leave early
You're
and
shooting
not
yourself
do what
in the
you
foot
said.
and you're pissing people off.
You are, you're completely, you're being disrespectful. I'm spitting. you're being disrespectful to the people that support your art.
Absolutely.
Well,
And it's not right.
Absolutely. And then as the hostess, you have to work the
Spit
room.
all over
You have to,
Never
yes.
forget that. Talk
Never-
to
yeah.
everybody. That
Yeah.
goes back to what you were speaking about earlier. Smaller.
Smaller.
Smaller is better.
Smaller
Yeah.
is better.
See bigger all the time, and
Yeah.
it's really not a good idea.
More
Bigger's not
potential
better.
to mess up.
No, more is less.
More concentrated in. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
I
So
think
you
that,
can
you
speak
know,
to everyone one-on-one.
Right,
Make
yeah.
sure that you touch base. I have a friend who works for Roden and Fields, and one of the top things that she has spoken about
is small groups, right?
Well, they're pretty actually known for doing their big events,
Oh.
but it's one-on-one attention.
Uh-huh.
And the two women that own that company, they were very good with being hands-on.
Right.
And
Interesting.
speaking to you and looking at you and caring about what you're saying.
Right.
And not just...
Yeah, that's kind of major. But I think in our modern social media driven world where everybody's thinking about the number of likes and the popularity and everything else, they have a very hard time doing things small. People are doing bigger and bigger events,
they
and I
think
think
of
that's a
it.
mistake.
No, I agree with you. I think they think of it in terms of quantity, in
Success.
likes,
And-
in
yeah.
you know,
How many people were there?
Yeah, how many people were there? How many people did we expose this to? And I mean, if you think about it, you know, I often think of The Alchemist, Paulo Coelho's book, and how that book became popular
Little by
word
little, by
of
little,
mouth. I mean,
Uh-huh.
it was word of mouth. You know, President Clinton read it. It was, it was this book that over many years.
It was
through
the little
word
book
of
that
mouth-
could, yeah,
it was the
right.
little book that could, and it was.
But that's
over
what happens
many
with
years.
parties.
Yeah.
Word of mouth is like
you have
word
a
of
bad
mouth.
party.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you're dead.
Everyone will know.
Yeah, and if you have a small party where you didn't get
Where
invited
you had
because it was
some, like,
exclusive, and you hear about it, you're like, wow.
And there
then
were
you
these-
care.
The people that are
Amazing-
not invited to that first party,
Yeah.
Yep.
you want them to be invited to that second party.
Right, so you have to. So the guest list is a changing thing.
Always.
You can't have the same guest list, correct? You have to kind
No.
of modify who's invited.
Correct,
You know, and
which-
keep renewing it.
It brings us back to look at your guest list.
Right.
Who do you want to come?
Well,
Who,
and
who has the biggest mouth? Invite them to party
Invite
number
the big
one.
one, right? Yeah.
Party one has
And
the
who
big mouth.
didn't
You're gonna
RSVP
invite
for
me
the
to
first
every
one?
single party, bitches. The hell.
But also, do you agree with the fact that people who didn't RSVP properly or who disrespected, you're like, they're off, right?
Will
I mean,
probably not get invited to party number two.
exactly.
But then don't have too many parties.
don't have too many parties.
So
Yeah, don't
again,
have too many
because
parties.
then I'll go to that party. There'll always be another one.
Yeah.
Do
Scarcity.
Five.
Scarcity.
Five.
So what do you think is what is the biggest benefit or the outcome of one of these events that you've seen for someone creative? I mean, have you seen some really
Yeah, go
Connect-
from like
connect-
kind of down
connect-
here to
fantastic?
Absolutely, connections. I mean, it all boils back to right time, right place, people.
people that you meet,
Word
you
of
make
mouth,
the connections,
you meet the
and then you're
connections.
like, oh, I love that guy, and then they think of it, and then they get hired for that next
Absolutely.
acting job
Absolutely.
or that next.
Something that you didn't
Yeah.
think that you wanted is suddenly there, and you're like, oh, or you connect with that person,
Right.
the person who wrote the book.
Right,
Maybe you don't even care what the book is about,
right.
but you love the author.
And
So
all of a sudden,
you're gonna read it.
and all of a sudden, the author's getting a movie deal.
And then
That's
you're
right.
gonna,
So,
and then you're
that's
gonna
right.
talk to all these people. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I do think and that's where we're missing things today is with Instagram and Facebook, we're not connecting
Yeah.
face to face.
For real.
We often talk
Right.
about this in
For
so many
reals.
for reals in so many creative realms.
Yes.
We do kind of, Instagram and Facebook are a great way to promote things in
Right.
some ways, but that real connection, interpersonal,
And that changes everything.
it
It's a
changes
game
everything.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
that
it
is
used
part of
to be
creativity.
that you'd be drinking wine at the studio of the artist,
Totally,
right.
right.
after hours.
And that's where you fall in love with them.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
the art makes sense.
Exactly.
all of a sudden you were like listening to some weird Beatles album and
And you're like,
drinking
This happened
wine
to you,
and making
huh?
out with
Yeah.
some random guy. And you're just
That sounds
like,
incredibly personal.
Weirdly
Yeah.
telling a story.
and then you're just
That's
like,
a great
oh my
story to
God.
tell.
And then that painting and
Comes
yeah.
to life, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Comes to life.
It's, I mean, it happens to the best of us, I'm telling you. Been there, done that.
Right. So speaking of been there, done that, you've done so many events. You've been at so many events. I would like to hear some of your horror stories from some events gone
Yeah,
wrong.
come
Through
on.
no fault of yours, because I know that you're a consummate professional and you're a great person. You want Gabrielle Chavigny on your side when you were throwing
Yeah.
an event because she will troubleshoot. She'll put out fires.
Right.
Incredible situations. But what have been some things that you have seen that have been egregious?
I mean, honestly, it's It's all about over-serving a lot of times. Some of the worst mistakes I've seen is...
What?
little too much of this.
That happens
A little
to me
bit of
at
that.
happy hour every week.
A little bit of the
practically.
happy in the party.
Yes,
Okay.
and I think people think that it's going to bring a lot of spontaneity and conversation, and it does to a certain point.
And then it goes over.
And then it goes south.
Yeah.
Then there's
And you're
glow
like,
sticks
Do,
and
do,
pools.
do. Oh, you were telling me about the glow
Wait, beer
sticks and
pong.
Beer pong. Okay. Anybody
What's
who
beer
does a
pong?
corporate event with
Right.
beer pong, not
No.
conducive to brainstorming sessions afterwards. More like
No.
barfing sessions
Right,
afterwards.
Ooh.
Pretty
Yes.
much. So I say make sure you control that atmosphere.
That's smart. So hence the punch. The punch
Hence
is not
the punch,
too powerful.
and then hydrate. I'm a big water person, so keep the water flowing.
Oh, that's a good idea.
A lot of water because you want to have people remember your product.
That's major.
So-
yeah, you don't want people to be like, that was
You
a
don't
blast.
want them
What
to
happened?
associate
I don't actually remember
vomiting
where I
all
was.
morning with your product.
And
Yeah.
what were we there for?
Right.
You're like,
So-
yeah, I'm not really into that because
No.
I puked all night after their event.
You're like, actually
Not
don't even
cool.
like it anymore. I
Not
don't know
cool.
what it
Yeah,
was.
not
I mean, I
cool.
had that experience with White Castle when I was a kid. You remember that restaurant?
Yes.
If you want to call it that. Yeah.
yeah.
Like a drive
Never
right
ate there
that,
again.
That fine
It's
establishment.
like an In-N-Out, right?
Yeah.
That's not as good as an
in
In-N-Out.
the
I mean,
Midwest,
if you're,
East
No,
Coast.
no, I remember White
Well,
Castle.
White Castle.
I mean,
the
I lived in
first-
New York.
yeah, the first
Yeah.
White Castle was
Yeah.
in New York because it was at the intersection
Yeah.
of
It was the
White
Beastie
and
Boys.
Castle.
That's why
Yeah.
we
Well, yeah.
ate White Castle.
Right, but,
Oh.
but the first one was at the intersection
Yes,
of White and Castle
absolutely.
in Queens.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
there you go.
I
Yeah.
got deathly
Well,
ill on White
side
Castle
story.
one night, and yeah, and it ruined it for me.
Right.
Right.
You'll
Those
never-
little stupid hamburgers with like
But
diced
that's
onions.
how
Yes.
you remember their product.
Yeah,
You remember
and I
vomit.
exactly. I
Right.
never went to like a White Castle event.
No.
No, but
No.
that was your event.
Yeah, that was the
That
end
was
of
a
the
very,
event.
very-
All right.
That vomiting
Friday.
was...
Yeah. So
event.
don't make your event a White Castle event.
No, don't do that. So what else? What about? Oh, you mentioned the paintball team building.
Don't do anything that could hurt somebody.
Yeah, that's a
Oh,
problem.
yeah.
So we were trying to do
Because
team building and
Lawsuit. If
people
a
are shooting at
lawsuit
each
can be
other.
Oh,
involved,
Right. When
forget
somebody's
it.
eye gets shot out,
Not
Forget
awesome for
about
team
it.
building.
Stupid.
no,
That's a
don't do
stupid
that.
idea.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
I,
No.
I think, and gift bags. Keep them
Gift-
coming.
Keep them coming. Oh,
People
I
love
like
gift
that.
bags.
Okay, so what are some good gift bag ideas? Because sometimes I feel like people go to the event just for the gift bag,
And they do.
and they do.
And they
but
do.
so, what are some of the better gift bags that you have seen?
Cosmetics.
I mean, yes. Yes, I'm a big perfume,
Chicks love.
cosmetics, candles,
Oh
nice.
yeah, hair products.
splits of wine, champagne.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
wine, a bottle of wine.
Right. And
So, okay,
people will remember.
People
also,
will remember. So do you do it branded? Do you do a branded gift
know,
bag, or do you try to just?
I just recently got a little gift myself, and I thought it was funny because it said, "Drink more for a better world."
You're like, yes.
You're like,
That's
hey,
our new
great
tagline.
happy
Drink
hour.
more for a better world.
But I think watch too much of the monogramming because
Oh.
people don't necessarily want your brand
Your
all
brand
over them
all over.
all the time.
That's a smart thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something thoughtful
dainty.
and dainty
Right.
and targeted.
Don't
Yeah.
overdo it.
Don't
with
get
That's
that.
smart.
crazy.
Well, like Soho House, for
Because they'll
example.
never use it.
Right. Well, like Soho House, they have, you know, when they have something with their, it's just a very discreet
And
little
I-
logo.
and I
It's
like
just a little
them.
grid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very
Perfect.
simple. So your pen is not,
Right.
it doesn't say Soho House all over the place. It's just that little grid.
Correct.
And that works really well. And people people still remember where they got it.
Right.
Right.
You know,
right.
so
But-
that's
and
kinda
you're going
smart.
to use it more.
You will, yes. You
You're
won't be
going to
embarrassed
use
to
it
be
more than to be
Yeah.
like, I have Soho House written all over
all
me.
over me. Yes, exactly. So, I mean, I've received, like, I've gone to a few events where I've received some lipsticks and some perfumes, but it wasn't on theme so much. They tried to make it on theme, but I felt like it was, I mean, I was happy to get the gift bag.
But it didn't remind you of the product.
Not really. I mean, I remember where I got those things.
Right.
Yeah.
But I kind of felt like, where are these things coming from? And I felt like the people who were donating the things for the gift bag
Well, and that's the other thing is
didn't really, you know, did
working
that
in
work.
Manhattan, you go to so many events.
Yeah.
Where you get so much stuff.
It's
you
over, yeah. it's
don't even
overkill.
remember, like,
Right.
yes, that lipstick was great, but it doesn't resonate with
No.
that cookbook
Exactly.
that I was buying.
And that literally has happened. Like where you go to, like I went to an art show and I got lipsticks and chocolates and I'm like,
So
candle.
that's
I don't get
a
it.
very easy answer.
Mm-hmm.
Know what you're selling and match the two.
Right.
Marry something that is making sense with what you're doing.
Right.
So we're gonna enlist her help. So let's pretend we're throwing a creative happy hour event. How how would you go about that?
Yeah, give us a quick rundown of a creative happy hour event.
What would be the ideal creative happy hour podcast event? What would you do? How would you organize? What would your vendors be?
I mean, I would do it at a really cool house.
Oh, a house.
I think so, at a house too.
Because you film out of a very cool house.
Yes.
Okay.
I agree with
so
that.
I would certainly start with my venue and then build it around my venue and your brand. So it's based on 2 women.
That's us.
So remember that.
Yeah.
We try.
Keep
We're
that
very,
going.
very narcissistic.
So you've got your house. You've got your feminine.
Yeah, I think that most of our audience is women.
Well,
I mean, men don't give a shit about intelligent women. It's really sad, but they don't.
Yeah.
Even though we're so
they
cute.
don't yet.
Yes. And then draw it back to maybe focus on something. It's nice when you have a theme. So maybe you're 2 women selling a brand from 2 women. So focus on things that are made by women.
Do you think we should have an extra guest other than us, or should we be pushing the podcast?
Absolutely. People love special guests.
Okay.
They even want to read it on the invitation. If they see special guest,
honoring
doesn't
somebody.
even know.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who it is. They see special.
We should have like a woman chef or something.
Right.
Nice.
Or I know some of those, so we could do that.
We could do that. Okay.
And then so maybe you have something from her, like a cookbook she did.
Ooh,
and then maybe you have
special cocktail.
Somebody that knits
Uh-huh.
you a sweater while you're there.
So fiber frequencies. What?
Yeah.
and then could knit while we're like having the party. I mean,
totally.
But keep it all together. Make it a nice, neat little package. I call it
package. I like that.
But with a big bow.
A big bow.
Big bow.
What's our bow?
It's taffeta. It's blue. But make it something that you can basically hand to your guest and it all makes sense.
This is the Creative Happy Hour experience that we are summing up for you guys, and we're making you feel good about it.
And in 2 years, they will pick up said book and be like, oh, that party with those 2 women about their
and now their podcast is so famous. Can you believe we were there for their party?
Can you believe that?
Right?
That's
Amazing.
what you want.
That's
what we want.
Oh,
I'm
like
seeing it now.
Right? We're seeing it all.
I'm already there.
I'm like, I'm doing it.
You are. You're the one that's doing it.
Yeah.
You're already hired.
It's done.
Exactly. It's done. Hire. Yeah. So you guys. I mean, I think that's. Is there anything else that you want to tell us about creative events? Any little last nugget that you want to leave people with before we tell everybody to hire you?
Keep it real. Stay true to your product, and remember why you're doing what you're doing. And people recognize passion. So if you are passionate about what you're doing and believe in it, people will believe in you.
Right, and that's major just even for creativity and creative production
in general.
and creative entrepreneurship in general. So I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Everyone, if you guys are looking for a wonderful event, very knowledgeable event planner, she knows her food, she knows her wine, she knows her company, she knows a lot of people. And so Gabrielle Chavigny, and we will put her Instagram handle up on top of our cheers to you.
Cheers.
Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time to get drunk
on the creative possibilities.
Yeah, baby.